like put on like some foundation, some lipstick,
Right.
and like pretty much it. Like didn't like go completely like dragged out. But yeah,
which one was she?
Well, she doesn't really have it. And can I scroll? What's going on here?
Yeah, it's just slow and shitty.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
It's an
there we go,
iPhone
right
one.
there. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We'll put a picture of that.
But
on
that
the Facebook.
actress, she is not. Maybe it's just the direction. I don't know. Maybe she'll get better as the show goes on. But she has that line, like, "I'm not just gonna stand here." Like, there's no gradation. She goes from 0 to 10 immediately.
Which is crazy because Patrick Stewart is so fucking good.
Oh my god, he's just like you just want to eat up his acting. He's
like,
so good.
He's so good. Like, how did they? That's a get, man.
Yeah. It is.
Like, this dude, like, legit does Shakespeare on stage and is lauded for it.
Yeah, he's not like Shatner doing Shakespeare.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, that's cute, like, let's go, that should be fun.
Right.
Like, this is a dude, like, you'll do, like, him and, like, Ian McKellen are, like, the Shakespeare buddies,
Right. I'd go see that.
But that's a get, man. And homeboy who plays Riker, he's not half bad either.
Jonathan Frakes.
The scene that they have together was awesome.
Yeah, in the like the boardroom or the captain's quarters or wherever.
Yeah.
Where they're actually what he does to him right from the get go.
Oh yeah, okay.
We'll get there.
So they surrender, and Q beams them into a
midget court.
A post-atomic horror courtroom, which is probably the dopest thing I've ever said. Post-atomic horror
courtroom.
Awesome. It's after in Trek continuity. Right. It's after World War III.
I was really worried at this point that this was going to be the whole episode.
And
I was like, oh my god, no. Also, speaking of John Delancey as Q, do you get the idea and his acting that he is really in love with himself as an actor from that performance?
Oh yeah.
Like, he is way into himself.
Well, I think he thinks this character is awesome. Like, he's like...
He's having a good time.
Like, he's like, I can't believe I landed this character who can pretty much do whatever he wants.
That's true. He changes... Like, yeah.
And
he's a lot of fun to watch.
And it can be a dick about it.
Yeah. That's true. It's a great role, and I think we get to see him a few more times, right?
Yeah, for sure.
He's a regular recurring villain.
And so Q is the judge. I think this is where I see Peter Dinklage. I don't know.
The guy with the little gong?
Yeah, the little person there.
Right, but there were a whole bunch in the crowd. It's like
I don't know.
It's like they stole something from Time Bandits. Like they went to Time Bandits times.
I don't know what's going on.
There's a disproportionate number of small people. Well, it's not a race. They're human beings.
Whatever
is it
that
sizist?
Is it sizist?
Is it mean?
That I think
that all little people
they look alike.
He has a little bit of. I think he's got Dinklage's eyes and frown. So
that motherfucker looks like him. Dude.
I don't think he is. I think Dinklage is too young.
I had to IMDb that hoe. I for sure did.
All right.
Again, I did. He's not on. He doesn't have a Next Generation credit.
Okay.
Name, but maybe it's uncredited. I don't know. But it's usually still on there because they will say like uncredited. Anyway.
Right. If he was on there, somebody would have spotted it and called it out.
Oh yeah, definitely. So Q is the judge, and he's like, "You're going to jail because humans sucks." Humans suck, but Picard's like, give us a chance to prove that we're not as bad as advertised.
And he's like,
So Q's like, all right, fair enough.
This sounds fun.
And so then he beams it back onto the emergency sec, which is what the battle bridge is called.
Right.
And they're still headed towards Farpoint, like nothing ever happened. Meanwhile, on Farpoint, Riker is getting chatty with this dude named Groppler Zorn, I guess, who runs shit there.
He's a little more Kirkish than
he's
Picard.
Yeah, He's definitely.
He's good. It's interesting. They kind of split Picard, or not Picard.
Kirk,
they split Kirk. Like the brainy part of Kirk seems to be Picard because him talking about like theoretical maneuvers and stuff, and the more like
Poonhound adventurer
is Riker.
Because and so like he's talking to Zorn and there something like shady's up.
He's like the mayor of Farpoint Town.
Like just something shady's kind of up.
Right.
And speaking of him being the Poonhound, like that's when you see Beverly Crusher, and you get the impression that Riker's down to fuck Crusher.
Yeah.
Down to crush that.
He really
Just
is.
by the way, he's like, oh, I was hoping to run into you. Like, what are you doing? And then fucking Wesley shows up and cock blocks him.
Oh my god.
And he's like, let's go now.
Well, Wesley is a bit starstruck by Starfleet. Like, he thinks that Starfleet is the shit.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go after a kid, but he's an annoying character. Maybe he gets better as the show goes. And I probably would have loved him if I was a kid watching the show.
That could be me! Why did they cast me?
Well, it's like Robin in Batman. The whole great thing about Robin as a kid is you're like, oh, that could be me. I could be hanging out with Batman.
But yeah, it's obvious that Riker wants to fuck Beverly.
She's another foxy lady, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we meet Geordi LaForge.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells Riker, he's like, Picard wants you to beam up so he can... some shit's gone down or whatever.
They talk about it later, but they don't address it right away. He's got his visor on, but they don't mention it. And Becca was watching it with me, and she's like, "What the hell? Why does he have a harmonica on his face?"
Yeah,
and I was like, "You'll see."
Yeah. So Riker beams up, and he's like, "What's up, Captain?" And he's like, "Nothing." Watches the video, like totally like stonewalls him.
And so Riker watches the first part of an episode of Star Trek.
Yeah, he's like, shit, all right. And he's like, hey, this isn't half bad.
This shows promise.
But he's like, watch this video, what happened, I hate you.
Right.
And then he tells Riker to connect the Enterprise back together manually, like just to be a dick, I guess?
Yeah. Well, first don't they have their scene together before that?
No.
Oh, that's after.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Riker, however, is a badass and does it.
Again, Becca was asking, like, why doesn't he just tell the guys who are actually pressing the buttons, you do it? Like, I guess because as the commander, he's giving the calculations.
Yeah.
So it's up to him to mathematically and by sight figure out, like, how do I do this without killing everybody on board?
It's awesome, too. If you watch it on Netflix, the subtitles, what Riker actually says is, all stations prepare for a reconnection.
Sexy.
The Netflix subtitle is "All stations prepare for a happy birthday," which
I didn't have the subtitle.
Which like the subtitles always pop up like a second before the line,
right?
And so I read it, I'm like, "All stations prepare for a happy," like maybe he's like that's like lingo, like we fucking did it, happy birthday, like,
bro.
But he's like a reconnection, I'm like. Someone fucking dropped the ball. Like someone like was.
I don't know. Happy birthday.
Like someone was like, "You guys ordered out. You guys got paid away. Happy birthday!" Like, let me just finish this up real quick. Save.
Don't eat all the noodles.
So that's when they have their little heart to heart, and Picard's like, "You let your captain beam down that one time," and Riker's all like, "It was too dangerous," and Picard's like, "Fuck you, we're the captains. We know what's up." And Riker's like, "It's my job to make sure you don't die," and Picard's like, "Whatever. I hate kids."
Yeah, exactly. He's like, "It's your job to make sure I look cool in front of kids."
Pretty much, but no, Picard calls him out on this, like something that happened with Riker and his
Riker had refused to let his captain beam down
to a planet because he said it was too dangerous.
Right.
And Picard's like we're fucking captains. We know what's up.
Yeah. Has it occurred to you that captains know what they're doing?
And he's like, does the role of captain mean nothing to you? And he's like, the complete opposite. Like hold in very high regard. That's why. It was like it's part of my duty to make sure that they stay alive.
He impresses. I think he impresses Picard with his answer.
Yeah, because he doesn't back down.
Right, and he gives him a smart answer.
Yeah,
he gives him an answer that makes sense.
Yeah, and Picard's like, there are a lot of kids here, and I fucking hate kids.
It's interesting.
So you gotta help me and like not be a dick to them.
Because the old Enterprise didn't have children.
No, yeah.
So I think that's really an interesting change, and I wonder if they just made that creatively so Wesley could be there. Yeah. So Wesley and Picard could start having that relationship and grow that character. It's interesting because Mary Beth told us that that Roddenberry wanted it to be more about the stories and not really about the people, but they start building these relationships right from Jump Street.
I really enjoy that.
And it's clear it's an ensemble this time.
But yeah, there's a scene with Geordi and Crusher where
she's trying to help him,
and apparently he's like in constant pain.
Because of the visor, he's in constant pain.
But it helps him see. And she's like, "What about pain? What about you want some codeine? You want some scissor?
Yeah, I'll write you whatever you want."
And he's like, "No, that'll hamper my ability to use the visor."
Right.
And she's like, "What about we cut open your skull and tinker around with your brain?"
He's like, "That's the same thing. Yeah, deaden the nerve centers that are in pain."
And he's like, and then he has a great line like, "See you."
Yeah. I was like, Yeah, I waggled my tongue. I ate the pussy of that line.
At one point, Bones shows up. For no reason, but it's still fucking dope.
It is.
Like this scene serves no purpose at all.
Except that I guess, it's I mean, story-wise, it serves no purpose. Thematically, it serves the purpose of them sort of passing the torch, because he's got that great line about, you be good to her, treat her like a lady.
And she'll always get you home.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome, because, like...
They don't call him by name.
No, yeah, just like a...
Although his southern accent has really ripped out.
It has, dude. He's gotten more southern and more racist. Calling Data boy.
It's weird. It's like the director was like, no, you really... He's like, I've been playing this character for 20 years.
No, really ham it up. And for some reason, I thought, I was like, man, he looks haggard. But I'm like, oh, he's just made up, for sure.
Becca was like, he's AIDS skinny. What's up?
Oh, he's always, like...
I was like, well, he's always been that way. But I guess the way they dressed him really emphasized it.
Well, he was that skinny, in the movies, too.
Yeah, in Star Trek 1, when he shows up in his disco jumpsuit with his medallion.
But I mean, he's definitely made up to look like he's 137. He doesn't actually look that old, because he didn't die for another 10 years after that.
And Becca asked again. She was like, "How did he live to be this old?" And I was like, "Well, it's future medicine, I guess, because you know, I mean, other members of the crew were going to show up at certain points.
I mean, if you think about it, 100 years ago, what was the life expectancy then?
Right, 30, 40?
Yeah,
I don't know.
10? I don't know.
12?
And, compared to what it will be in 300 years.
Yeah, that's true. 137 is not so far-fetched, and it's not like he looks like he's in the
the
rose of
he doesn't look like a spry chicken.
He's not in the bloom of youth.
But it's awesome because he compares Data to a Vulcan, because he's like, you ain't got pointy ears, ain't got points on your ears, boy.
But you sound like a Vulcan.
And he's like, I'm an android, and he's like, just as bad.
Data takes no offense because he has no emotions. Although he does smirk a couple times in the episode, so like with Spock, they're playing with that a lot.
But yeah, he does have Trek ever going the path of least subtlety. It's like, this is the Spock of the new show.
Yeah. Here is McCoy to let you know.
Yeah. But yeah, that was an awesome scene. Again, had no purpose in the story whatsoever, but like you said, thematically it was great.
Can we also talk about the Enterprise bridge? What do you think about that aesthetic?
It looks like the inside of my old car. I had a tan Buick.
I was thinking it looks like either the inside of a car or a 1980s TV living room somehow.
Yeah.
It's really spacious. It's not there's a lot of needless room.
Yeah.
It looks really empty in there.
Yeah, it doesn't look like
a bridge.
Like a submarine. What the Enterprise kind of was, the feel they had going for, where it was small and cramped, but you're able to fit everything where where it had to be.
It looks wide and spacious, and
you could do some yoga there.
Yeah, sure. they could. I mean, I don't know why Picard won't let kids up there. There's enough room for them to play and not get in the way. You could
designate a play area for sure. Just put some a little gate, and
exactly.
Wesley can fucking go nuts. Fucking Wesley. But there's a part where the children aren't allowed on the bridge,
right? But Wesley smooth talks his mom
into letting him into the elevator,
the
turbo lift, and Beverly's he's not on the bridge, he's on the turbo lift,
and Picard's Picard has some history with Wesley and Beverly. I get the impression that it's almost sort of a Gary Mitchell situation in terms of
our Gary Mitchell. Gary Mitchell and his wife
good
and
news,
Kirk,
bad news.
Picard shows up with Beverly's dead husband. He's like, good news, bad news.
Right, Picard brought Beverly's dead husband home from a mission, and so you get the impression, because she refers to him the first time she says his name on the show, even before she's in a scene with him, she refers to him as Jean-Luc.
Jean-Luc.
And you get the sense when he sees her that there was something there that, obviously she picked the other guy.
I kind of get the impression that Wesley might be his.
Oh,
at
this point, all doors are still open.
Yeah,
so
I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. But so Picard's I guess you can show up, and
lets him sit in the chair.
Lets him sit in the chair, and Wesley's like, oh, I know what this is. I know what that is. And Picard's like, oh, you're so goddamn annoying.
And he's like, yeah, exactly. Picard's the audience in that movie. He's like, get the hell out of the chair.
And the alarm goes off, and he's like, get the hell out of here. What are you doing? Get the hell out. Get the hell off the bridge.
And he's like, he sees that the kid was right, though, that there is a proximity alert, and he's so annoyed. He's like, Picard, what is it? This is Picard.
Fucking hell. There's another scene with Groppler Zorn. It kind of helps further the plot that he can't be trusted for some reason. And there's also there's a scene in the holodeck with Riker and Data where they kind of
they established the